Hello, everyone, and back to another episode of Capitalist. Today, I'm joined by Alison Godfrey. Alison, do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, thank you. I am someone that started in the box inside large organizations, only to find out I didn't belong there at all.
Hmm.
And after the last, I am not happy here, I became an entrepreneur. And because of that, I ended up becoming a coach to be a better CEO in my own company.
Yeah, I love that, and I love you said something in a previous post about therapy versus coaching that I really liked, and that it really opened my eyes to um, how to think about coaching. When you said therapy goes deep, it works with the original source of the pain, not just what hurts today, but where the hurt started. And coaching is architecture. We take what's happening now in real time and we build a bridge to the version of you who wants to respond differently. And I think that's such an interesting and clarifying way to think about those things. I'd love you to speak about that for a little bit.
It's interesting because it's a question that comes up regularly. What's the difference between coaching and therapy? And the idea that you can have turbulent waters, perhaps, that you need to speak to a therapist about, that's great. And dig deep and where to come from and explore those areas. But in coaching, we get to build a bridge right over those turbulent waters. Let's look to the future. Who do you want to be? What do you want to become? And let's start creating that person right now.
Yeah, I love that. And I find that in my own coaching practice, I spend a lot of time also saying, well, like, that's a ridiculous thing to think. Like, why do you think that way? And like, not in a way that is probing you to go into your deepest, darkest feelings, although, like, that's also fine, but in a way that's more, okay, like, let's say that's not true, though. We play a game at Happiness called Is It True, Though? Where someone says, okay, this is what you believe in. Okay, but like state your evidence. What is the evidence like that you have for that thing? Things you can touch, see, feel, smell, hear, like evidence that actually happened. And that is more about the architectural part than like digging into the base of like where that hurt comes from.
Absolutely, 100%. And I love that. I just read the book Beyond Belief
Hmm.
by Nir Eyal, and it's that. That is what the whole book is about. You will see what you believe.
Hmm.
That's it. And it's not I'll believe it when I see it. And that's usually what
Right.
people say. No way. And we don't look at our beliefs. What's behind you thinking that that's reality? Whose reality?
Right. Yeah, I love that. We call it and at Happiless we talk about your winning axis, and it's this
Mm,
idea that like every company is charting a path to the future, and like they're all competing with each other, but like they don't like nobody has planned the future. The only thing that like they are all saying is like, if you believe in me, if you believe in this future, go through me. And
right.
so one of the things we're trying to do with everyone is say, like, you can just opt out of their future. Did you know that? You can just like their future is the future. Like you don't have to want that future. You don't have to work towards that future. But you should find people, places, things, and ideas that support your future and then work towards making that the future.
How freeing. I love thinking about the future in that way. I want my future, not your future. I want my future. And who's going to be there for me? And what kinds of voices do I want in my ear?
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of like you have this dial on the side of your head and you're seeing all of these things that you don't want. And it's because you just are listening to country when you like rap and if you just dial, so like radio waves are happening all over yourself just like opportunities. But if you're tuned to the wrong kinds of opportunities and the wrong frequency of
Mm.
those opportunities, then you can't see them. And just by doing that little turn, you're like, oh my God, look at all these cool things that I can have. I didn't know that you can do that. And that's one thing I love the most about coaching is you can just break through somebody and be like, well, that can't be true because this company exists. And they're like, that company exists? And you're like, yeah, there is a company. I just got back from Orlando that um their only thing is they sell pop-up greeting cards. Like you
Oh,
open it and they have a pop-up thing. There's like 20
yes.
of them in the whole store. And I was like, if that store can exist in downtown Disney, I don't want to hear your idea being too niche.
Yeah. That is just wonderful. And it becomes a way of accessing a whole part of you you've shut down.
Yeah, absolutely. And often you don't even know you shut down because
Mhm.
no one's even asking you about this. So another thing that I saw that you say about coaching, and I know we're gonna talk about a different thing, but I'm like really into like I'm trying to figure out how to get like my coaching practice to the next level. And so I've been thinking a lot about this. And so this other one really resonated with me, which is about like how you judge coaching. And
Mm,
you had said coaching doesn't work if you measure it by outputs. It changes how you show up. And I think it's so interesting because you don't, yeah, like if you have a good coach, the world completely shifts and you're just like things become easier that were hard.
mm.
And but like if your entire reality shifts, how do you even judge that?
Right, right. Thank you for picking up on that. It really makes a difference with all of us. And s- changing that reality, client recently was just struggling in this new job that she has because she believes who she is does not fit into that world.
Mhm.
And she is just all about humanity. And this job, just these people at work just aren't that way. And so we started talking about, well, how do you need to show up at work then? And what she came away with, I'll be the lioness that will protect my team from that, but I will behave what is true to me with my team. And she came out joyful. It was lovely. And it was a reality where she hadn't seen it and she was ready to quit.
Yeah, so there's like four ways that you can change a situation, right? There's you can accept it, you
Hmm.
can automate it away, you can delegate it, or you can change the reality around the way you see that thing. So something that you hate can become something you love, something you don't need can become something you need. And so we live in this world where we spend a lot of time thinking about, well, just like accept the things that you can't change. But it's like, well, I mean, you can always change you.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
yeah, I'm really into I read The Courage to Be Disliked a few months ago, and so I'm
Mhm.
really into Adlerism now, which is like, hey, I can't change anything about you. But I can certainly change all the things about me, and I can change whether you are part of my future. And I
Right.
can change the room I'm in. I can change the job I have. I can change the thing that I do. I can change all the things that I have control over. And hopefully that brings me in line with better humans and people that are
Yes.
more aligned with me. But like, I can't change you. I can only change me. And hope that that changes you willingly.
Yes. That's so true. And people go into situations like thinking they're the victim, and all these people are blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what they're doing. How are you responding? How are you reacting? How are you showing up? You have 100% control of that. Say something, speak up, do what you need to do to be the best version of you.
Yeah, I just had a coaching call a couple of days ago, and someone was talking about how their person doesn't care, their like boss doesn't care, like the owner of the company doesn't care, and all the things fall on them. I was like, why?
Mm,
It's like why? It's like a company will never be outgrow their owner. So like you should never, ever, ever be the person who cares the most in a company. Like the owner should be the person who cares the most in a company. And like you can only rise or fall to that thing, but like you are also letting that happen. And you're actually not doing yourself any favors by the company any favors by like having all the things not collapse because of you. Like it'd be better for the company in the long run if you just let it collapse, because then either you would find out, oh, that stuff doesn't actually matter, which is the thing I think most people are so scared about the most. Like, I've spent nights and weekends dealing
Right.
with this thing. It has to matter. I can't let it go because if it doesn't matter, if no one else cares, then I've just wasted all of this time. Or
Mm.
they'll come back to you and say, oh my God, like, why is this failing? It's like, well, because I'm not doing it anymore. I
Right.
just because like it's not in my job description. And they're like, what? And I'm like, you can pay me a lot more to do it, or you can hire someone else to do it. But like, Russell's not doing it. And like, you can make any choice that you're willing to deal with the consequences of.
Yes. Yes. There's so much ownership in looking at things that way. And the phrase not mine is really important. I don't own that. And just like you're saying, somebody else owns this company. It's
Right.
not mine.
Literally, someone else owns the company. Like, it's not your company to own. Yeah, I mean, so I'm a tarot reader. I do this thing called business capitalist business tarot. So
Ooh.
there's a major arcana card called ownership, and it's all about taking what isn't yours, and then you the it's and then you have the hangman, which is about reframing. We've now taken ownership, and now you have to reframe your life around what that ownership means. And then you have the devil, which is sorry, death, which is about releasing the things which are not yours to
Mm,
control so that you can find sustainability. And like it's this whole like arc that goes really from like, okay, you had a really hard time. That's the eight, that's the strength. And then you sat back and reflected on it. You positioned yourself based on the fact that you don't necessarily want it to be that hard anymore. And then you took ownership, you reframed, you did all of these things. But like there's a process to doing this, and
mhm,
ownership, you can only take ownership of the things that are yours if you release the things that are not yours anymore. Otherwise, you will be stuck carrying all of those things that you have to release, and then you can't grow to
mm.
become the world to integrate into everything.
It's such a great framework and model for somebody actually step by step increasing self-awareness.
Hmm.
What is mine? Who am I? What do I want? What do I not want? What am I releasing? And really going through that process in an organized way. I love that. I love tarot. That's extraordinary.
Oh wow, I gotta do a reading for you then one
Oh, I
day.
would love that.
Um,
Thank you. Okay.
So yeah, and the Fool's Journey is the major arcana is the Fool's Journey from zero the Fool to 21 the world, and it's about how a fool moves through to integrate and take their part in the greater perspective. But it's impossible when what you have after you find that sustainability is you then have the devil, which is the misalignment, which is like tempting you back to your old things because it's so
Right.
much easier to do the things that like the way that is is broken, but like, oh my God, like there's money there right now. And then you have to find that process of renewal of rebuild before you get to the part of renewal. And like there is an order. Like it's right there in the tarot that like you ha you will if you can get to the point where you can take ownership and then release, you will always be tempted. You'll always be tempted to go back to the easy way, even if it's the bad way, because it's easy
Right.
now.
Yes. Yes. And you can hide there and avoiding that stretch zone of change is something that people just cling on to for
Hmm.
safety. And there's no question going through growth, there's some dark nights of the soul in there.
Yeah.
And it just is that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, my company's called Hapitalist. And so people are like, oh, it's so frivolous to be happy all the time. And I'm like, oh, you poor sweet summer child. In order to be happy, even a portion of the time, you have to be miserable for a long time because you have to look at yourself in the mirror and really see like all of the things that you've been through that like are holding you back and release them and understand them. And it is not fun to do those things. That is where like pop psychology and like toxic positivity come from because it's like all of the easy things that like don't work because the hard thing is looking at yourself in the mirror and just being like, oh my God, I'm the problem.
Okay.
Or at the very least, I'm the solution.
Okay. Yes. But there's so much growth, depth, in introspection that you have to have and being honest with yourself. And there's mourning because you're also letting go of a piece of yourself that isn't working for you anymore.
Hmm.
And yeah, you can be really sad about that. The joy comes from that next phase as
Right.
the right, the energy
Yeah.
comes in.
Well, and okay, so when you give a tarot deck to somebody else, you're
Yeah.
supposed to do a ritual where you sit outside and you like let sun shine on both of you and you thank the deck for all of it's done that you like you're just like not it's not for you anymore. Like you met somebody who's the right person for this thing at the moment. And so we spend a lot of time in Happiness talking about sunset dates. And one of the things I
Mm.
ask people all the time is, "Hey, when's the last time you put a sunset date on everything?" And he's like, "I can't sunset date stuff." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, your life has a sunset date, so like you can literally, time will sunset everything for you at some point. So you might want to get in front of that."
Yes. Yes. And that concept of sunsetting, I've never heard before. Thank you. If you don't mind, I'll give you
Yeah,
credit, but I would love to use that.
wonderful.
And it's fantastic because that crosses all phases of life, all boundaries. It's work, it's home, it's friendship, it's everything.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it allows you to then say, "Okay, so you don't like doing this part of your job. Like when can you stop doing it?" And they're like, never. And I'm like, okay, but like you have a finite number of projects that you promised to do. And so let's just say these were the last projects of this type that you were to ever do. When would they end? And they're like, I don't know, 6 months or another. Great. So I need you to say, Mr. Boss Human, these are things that I will do. I'm not gonna like stop, just drop anything. I'm gonna keep doing this thing. But on September 1st, once these things are off my plate, I'm not taking any more on.
Mhm.
And like people are so scared to do that, but it allows you to say, okay, I want to be the high achiever that I am. I want to not like abandon projects or do anything, and I'm going to handle every responsibility that I have right now. But what is my responsibility today is not my responsibility forever. And so trying to be kind to future you.
Yeah. It's such an absolute way you can set boundaries
Hmm.
in a very kind way. There's plenty of time to get used to it. There's a transition time. I'm not abandoning you.
Right.
But after this point, I want this done and off my plate. And I will make sure whoever plate you're putting it on, I help them.
Right, absolutely. And you can say, look, I was talking to my friend the other day. And I was like, look, like your boss pays you like $50 an hour. Do you think that they want you to answer emails? They can get that done. Like you used to answer all of these things and do these customer support things 5 years ago when you first started at this company. But like now you are like a manager, like and a senior manager at that. Like, do you think that like this is a bad use of your company's resources? Like your boss should be thrilled if you're like, hey, all of these hours that I spend doing this task, which is I don't want to say below me. It's not that it's below me. It's just like someone else can handle
Right.
that is like at a level where like this is a good task for them, but like this is not a good task for me. Like just like do the math. Like you're paying me $500 a week to answer emails. That's a ridiculous thing. You could hire somebody for like $3 an hour or like $10 an hour or $20 an hour, even $40 an hour to answer emails. And like there's better things that I can do with my time. Not that that task is not important, but like I have specialized in doing these things, and I should not be doing this class of thing anymore because you can get better value by having me do other things. Like that's both kind for you and kind for the company. Should
Yeah.
be at least.
Oh, absolutely. Marianne Williamson wrote that famous poem that I don't remember the name of. However, it includes the concept of stepping into your light.
Mhm.
And that's how I see what you just said. If I step into my light and declare, this is what I can really handle that only I can do right now, it allows somebody else to step into their light.
Right.
And maybe answering those emails for someone else is a stretch zone, and they'll learn from it and they'll grow from it. Give them the opportunity, get out of the way.
Right.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I love it. And it's also this idea that like you don't get value from answering the emails, but someone who is new to your company will be able to see the insides of how this operates. And like they'll be able to like see how all of these things connect in a way that you already know, but
Right.
other people do not. And the goal I think should be everyone, like bring everyone up to your level, like not play at like the same level. It's bring other people up to your level, and then you can excel. If you want to be a high achiever, most of the high achievers I know are great at like bringing people up to their
Yeah.
level and then being like, great, now I'm gonna go up even higher because now all this is covered.
Right. Right. Absolutely. When I hear my clients say things like, I want everyone around me to be smarter than I am, it's just like, oh, yes, absolutely. Let them shine through
Mhm.
and you go do what you're best at. And in those cases, it's usually leadership, not
Yeah.
the doing anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I told someone the other day, I was like, look, you are the smartest person in your company, and why does that need to be the case? And they
Mm,
were like, I don't need to. I'm like, well, you are. If you are, like,
yeah.
if it was working, it would be working. It's not working, so it's not working. So like like I'm just looking at the fa like you would have either leveled up your company or like left for the company. So like there must be something that makes you feel like you need to be the most competent person at your company. And that part, the fact that the company is failing or like doing X, Y, and Z is not your burden. But
Yeah.
your burden is understanding why you let like people be so mean to my friend. Like, why are you letting people to be so mean to my friend? I don't want them to be mean to my friend. And like that part is the burden. And if you deal with that part, then the rest of the part that's not your burden stops being so. You start saying, oh, that's me self-sabotaging myself again in the same way that I always do.
Mm, that humanity that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it is that people to people interaction. And there are so many people that believe that's the soft skill. I
Mhm.
don't need to learn how to do that. And it is an absolute recipe for disaster and failing. You won't get there.
Absolutely. In fact, you wrote a really good post about sorry, it was about different patterns, the same place over time that I would love for you to talk about because I loved it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's interesting and it's a great way to lie to yourself. And that you continue doing the same thing in different ways.
Mm.
And there's no change. There is no growth. You're always in your comfort zone, but I'm doing things differently now. No, you're not. There's the exact same outcome every single time. And it's painful when you are, as a coach, when you're saying to somebody, which is actually, it can be taken as painful, but they're words of love. You're lying to yourself. That is just not true.
Yeah. We talk a lot at Happy List about storing your nose. Do you know what storing your nose is? Have you ever heard of
No,
this?
tell me.
Okay, so
No.
so storing your nose is we all have our own self-sabotage where we can kind of see, oh, I'm doing the same thing again. So like, that's storing your no's. I can't do it because of me. But we
Oh,
also store those same no's in other people, in other places, in other things. So you say like, "Oh, I can't do it because my boss." And it's like, "Wait, did your boss tell you you can't do it? Or did you tell you you can't even talk to your boss about it? I can't do it because this event's coming up." Okay. Did the event say you can't do it because of that, or did you say it because you couldn't do it about it? So it's people that are like, they're like, "Oh, well, I know that I can't do this thing that stops myself.
yeah.
But I can just say, oh, Allison told me I can't do it. My boss told me, my kids told me this. There are things that you can't do, but they're very small comparatively to the things that we say we can't do.
Very. But I love that concept. Thank you. It's another one I will give you credit for and storing your nose. It's so useful when looking at yourself and the idea that there are things you can't do. Great. Know those things and
Mhm.
find somebody who loves doing them and
Yeah.
become partners,
Yeah.
work together.
Right.
That's the beauty of a partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so before we started this, I said, what did you want to make sure you talked about? And you said, I want to talk about Edgewalkers and Guardians and then other archetyping stuff. And I have like a billion archetyping systems that I part of Capitalist, so I'm
Ah,
super excited. So tell me about Edgewalkers and Guardians and this whole thing.
okay. It was Judy Neal came up with it, and she is this magnificent woman that was this great history. And she's got an Edgewalkers organization. And I became certified in that. And part of it is archetypes of change. And it's not telling you who you are, it reveals to you what lens you usually choose to look at the world through. So, Edgewalker. Ooh, okay. Shiny object, no fear. I'm going for it. Something new. What can we create? What are the possibilities? If you ever want to brainstorm, bring an edge walker in because they will have the ideas and love it. I'm guessing, but you're an edge walker. You're
Yeah,
out
but
there.
like probably at the expense of the minute that something gets uninteresting or becomes or they figure it out, they run off to the next thing and leaving it behind. Because that's my version of self-sabotage. It's like, oh, this is easy now. I don't want it. I'm gonna go build an app or do some other thing.
No, thank you so much. Judy calls that the shadow side. And for every positive strength, well, what can go wrong here? What can go wrong is you get close to the goal, but that's where implementation, that's where some of the mundane comes in. And the edge walker might go, see ya.
Oh,
I'm
the
off where it's
worst.
more fun.
It's the worst. Okay, what's next? What are the other ones?
Well, the guardian also looks to the future. But the guardian is going to say, ooh, these are all the things that can go wrong, and we had better plan for it.
Hmm.
The shadow side of the guardian will go so far that they won't allow any change because it's all fear-based about what
Hmm.
could go wrong. But if you are an edge walker and you have a partner that's a guardian, you may not be able to work in the same room at the same time because you might want to kill each other.
Hmm.
However, you can respect what the other one brings to the table and get out of the way.
Yeah.
Do your thing. I always looked at Guardians as Eeyore. You
Hmm.
always say no. You bring me no energy. I don't get this. You are the doubting Thomas, completely missing that they were the balance to my Edgewalker.
Right.
Completely missing that what I'm not going to look at things that can go wrong. I'll only look
Right.
at things that can go right. And then it's a big surprise when there's a disaster.
Yeah, I can imagine that the Edgewalker would be like too, so it's like too optimistic. It's like everything's going to go right. Like
Yeah.
versus like what versus the to go back to Terror, there's a card called the Four, is
Oh,
about stability, and it's
yes.
about you think stability is a table, but it's really a bridge, and a bridge actually like moves quite a bit
Mm,
when you're with it. So it's one of those, are you stability, if you are too rigid, it actually causes instability.
oh,
Versus if you're
yes.
too chaotic, then it doesn't give you the ability to like actually get anything real done.
Right, right. It doesn't. And the best thing for an edge walker is to understand that you need extreme process
Mhm.
and you need ways to get things done and you need to ground yourself or else the outcome just is not going to be there. You won't be creating, you will be destroying.
Yeah,
You'll be in the way.
I say chaosing. You're not like actually creating or chaosing. So like, and like chaosing is fun, but if you don't have the structures in place, then like you just get lost in it, and and 6 months go by and you're like, wait, what happened to this year? Instead of saying, okay, like this is home. This is like
Yeah.
I'm putting my pin right here, and I always know how to come back to it, no matter where the chaos takes me.
That groundedness is so lovely. And I- before bursting into this beautiful world of coaching and meeting people like you, I didn't understand or even know that these concepts could exist.
Mhm.
And you can so thrive as soon as you've got the support structure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it just reminds me a lot of our happy compass, which is like how, so if you know you're a edge walker or a guardian, you still are, no matter who you are, you're bad at knowing how you like where your block is coming from. Right.
Right.
So it's like people are really bad at self-diagnosing their own block. And so they put the wrong block on what they're doing. If they think they're a guardian and they think they're an edge walker, they're like, oh, well, we call it the happy compass is HAPI. It's heart, which are project-based blocks, audience-based blocks, prioritization-based blocks, and income-based blocks. There are only
Okay.
really four blocks you're ever going to find. But like so often, what happens is you think you have an audience block and you really have an income block. And the way to
Oh,
solve an audience block is to lower your price and become more available. And the way you solve an income block is to become more exclusive and raise your price. And so you actually are like working against yourself and against your type by saying you like have
yeah.
by misdiagnosing yourself. And I'll bet there's a lot of that also with these like edge walker or guardian types where they, instead of what they say in Enneagram is the thing that saves you is the thing that kills you.
Yes. Yes. And you brought it right back to self-awareness and who are you really? And intention is not the same thing as impact.
Mhm.
And if something's going wrong and you're not looking in the mirror with your own behavior, what are you doing in the situation? It's never going to get better.
Yeah, and knowing what kind of person works well opposite you as well, I'll bet is like when I am on the phone and I like to go full force at things, and I'm like, you got to take this call because this person's gonna about to like hang up on me, and like I need this to work. And my wife is like, I need someone to actually get this done. So like you work between those two poles, and it's like on some level it's frustrating because we speak different languages, but like on the other hand, it's like if we can delegate the task properly to the person that is going to do the thing better,
Yes.
then like then you actually get more out of it.
Yes, absolutely. One of the fun improvisational games you can play in business is looking at the different archetypes, giving someone a few sentences, and then say, how would you say these words if you were an edge walker?
Mhm.
How would you say these words if you're a guardian or a flame keeper? What would it look like?
Whoa, 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 there's more than those two. You got to keep going to the
Yeah.
other ones. I didn't know. I thought there was just two. Like, what are
No,
the
there
other
are five.
three?
We've got Flamekeeper, and they're the people that want to keep the original values of the organization alive.
Hmm.
So they're really rooted in purpose and mission and values, and they have their moral compass that's very strong. By the way, you have some of everything. It's just it's not 100%, or
Sure.
it's you can have 90% of all of them. Um, the shadow side, though, is where dogma shows up about values, and this is the way it has to be, moral standards, and they can resist change in the name of purity.
Hmm.
And there can be with all of them, you need everyone, but you have to be aware of what the shadow side can be. So the hearth tender is, and I have like very little of this, ensures that day-to-day operations function smoothly.
Hmm.
And I love having those people near me. Yes, please do that. Deeply service focused, not in the same way as coaching, not that kind of service focused, but they are oriented around serving someone else's need and
Hmm.
relationship building in that way. And they'll create cohesion in the office, trust, all those wonderful things, practical insight. However, that hearth tender can become so focused on tasks and details that they all of a sudden will become overloaded and fatigued, and they lose sight of the bigger picture, very narrow focus. And if they don't feel appreciated, they can easily disengage. That's it. And do you
Yeah.
want me to give you the
Yeah, the
last
fifth
one?
one. Yeah, absolutely. I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat here.
Okay. The next one is the placeholder. And the placeholder absolutely is there to provide stability and predictability within the organization. And you can imagine a placeholder around an edge walker where if it's not changing, it's not good enough. And the placeholder is no, no, we need to be stable. They are the absolute keeper of boundaries and prevent the organization from going over the edge.
Hmm.
And they come in naturally averse to change because they are extremely comfortable with routine.
Yeah.
They provide stability, continuity, institutional memory, and they will protect the organization from really becoming reckless.
Hmm.
And they will ground decisions in lived experience within the context of the organization. Their shadow side is automatically resist change. That's not status quo, won't do it. Operate from fear and cynicism, and they will idealize the past and therefore disengage from the future. I can't tell you how many times, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times, people saying, "Oh, my old team was so wonderful. I just can't create that in my new job." And if you knew them when they were in their previous job, they were actually complaining about their team.
Yeah.
But now, now it was the best team ever.
Yeah.
And that's what it looks like when you've got somebody who's a powerful placeholder.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard for me to hear those things because then I say, um, well, okay, like what was it about the t was it you? Was it not you? Like what like are you like this doesn't seem right to me. Like every team is like a bunch of humans and then they go and they usually run the other way because they're like, actually, I just wanted to complain about my new team. And I'm like, there are two things. There's one, my golden rule is you can try and change and you can complain to me all day, or you cannot try and change, then you shut up. I don't care which, but you only have two options.
That's great. I love it. I really love it. You and I are like two peas in a pod. I call it recreational complaining.
Yeah,
You've got 10 minutes and that's it. And you may
yeah,
never bring the same subject up again. If
yeah.
you want to whine, go for it. I will sit here silently.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll tell somebody, I'll be like, that is my limit. Like you can not complain to me about this anymore. You've hit your limit. Like something has to change. Otherwise, I just can't. I can't with you anymore. And but I think that so often, have you read AQ? the AQ, the book AQ. It's
No,
all
I
about agility quotient. It's all about like how
oh
fast you
no.
change. So it's how
Write that
fast you change to you react to change and you proactive change. So there's like someone
down. Ah,
who is um who is slow at reactive and proactive change. Those are neurosurgeons. So reactive change would be like someone punches you, you punch them back. Proactive change would be like you see someone's going to punch you in 5 minutes, and so you walk away.
okay.
So like there's someone who is if someone is slow to both, they generally like just talk think about things forever. And it's
Mm,
because they're like once they make that decision, they're going to stick with it forever. And then you have firefighters. Firefighters are good at reactive change, bad at proactive. They're quick at reactive change, slow at proactive change. Then you have
okay.
novelists who are slow at reactive change, and then fast at proactive change. And then you have astronauts who are fast at both things.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like I'm an astronaut. My wife is a neurosurgeon. So like I know that I'm like this is the right answer. She's like, how do you know that? I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just like so obviously the right answer. Like, how do you not? She's like, I have to think about things forever. But then sometimes I'll be like, she'll make a quick decision like that. See, how did you know that was the right answer? And she's like, it was just
Yeah.
obvious. And I'm like, exactly. It's just obvious. Like, it's just so, I don't know how to say that, like, that is obviously a duck, but like, just look at it. It's like clearly a duck. Just like everything about it is duck-like. And like, how could you say it's not a duck?
Yeah. Yeah. That is really so powerful in how we take things in. Are we reactive? Are we responsive? When we're reactive, is it in a positive way or protective way
Hmm.
or hostile? What happens? And most people in that reactive phase aren't coming from the gut, they're coming from protection.
Right.
And they've had a fight or flight response. Their cortisol is off off the charts. Whereas what you're talking about is, oh, I feel it.
Right.
I got it. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Well, it's like so I'm an eight. I don't know if you do Enneagrams, but like eights are very they're they're when in strength, they're very magnanimous. They're like cult leaders, and they
Okay.
lash out when they're in stress. And
Oh.
so like I know that about me. Like I will be like make quick decisions, and like sometimes that thing will save me, and then sometimes when I feel like it in my so you can feel where it's
Mm,
coming from, right? It's like if it's like fierily boiling up in you, it's the same feeling in your gut as like it comes from the same place as like, no, I know what I'm doing. So like the same thing that is like there to save you and like gives you your superpower is also the kryptonite that like takes it away. And we spend so much of our life trying to cut the negative, like hate ourselves for the our negative
oh.
traits, but we don't understand that like the pot that they are actually the root of the positive traits also. It's just we are expressing them in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's lovely. It resonates so deeply. When you think about the second voice that's yakking in your ear all the time. And sometimes I've got clients that are like, oh, there are about 30 of those that are just that inner voice that's on you. And you start to think about that probably started somewhere in childhood.
Right.
And it was really important that you weren't going to embarrass yourself again. And it was really important you didn't feel humiliated or whatever the emotion is, imposter syndrome, whatever it is in the moment. And that therefore I'll never do that again. I won't speak up. It's too painful.
It's like
Well,
internal family systems, right?
oh, yes. That are never examined.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's I love that Richard Schwartz, the No Bad Parts book, because that's the thing. You said Guardians, and I was like, oh wait, like this is like, is this an internal family systems thing? Because it's
Uh,
all about those things that are inside of you and letting it be like, wait, how old do you think I am? It's like, I'm a whole grown ass man, dude. Like, I'm
Right.
not 12 anymore. It's one of
Right.
those things where it's like when you're 8, you pick up like the sword that you have like here, and you have like a trash can, and you keep putting, then you're 11 and get like, oh, you get like a stick, and you get like then you get like other, but you never take that other armor off. So you're just constantly loading up, and eventually you're just sitting there being like, why am I wearing 20 kinds of armor? This is ridiculous. And like, I'm not 5 anymore. I don't need this trash can. And
Yes.
so they say like the first half of life is armoring yourself up, and the second half is stripping all of it down until you can walk naked.
I have to read the book. Oh, it's so beautiful. And that's that second voice. And I'm not that child anymore. I have
Mhm.
tools. I can handle this. Who's dying around here? It's okay. I can do
Right.
this.
Yeah, I say one of my hottest takes is all anxiety is a lie, and people yell at me for that a lot. And I'm like, no, I'm not saying that your anxiety, your feeling is a lie. What I'm saying is the anxiety comes from us being filled with adrenaline and overdosing on cortisol. And that
Yes.
comes from tripping your central nervous system into your sympathetic response. And there's only one good legitimate reason to trip that response. It is when you're in immediate physical danger. If you're
Yes.
in immediate emotional danger, if you're in immediate physical pleasure, if you're in future physical danger, none of those are actually good. Like your sympathetic nervous system should not be tripped there. So if
Yes.
considering that if you are tripping your central nervous system, and if there's a tiger in front of you, that is not a lie. You are in immediate physical danger. Go,
Right.
run away, like pick up a stick, do something. But like in any other scenario, that's actually like anxiety. And anxiety is your body behaving, or it's your body lying to you. It's your body lying to you and saying that you're in immediate physical danger when you're not. So the experience that you're having can be very stressful,
Mm,
but you should not be tripping your sympathetic nervous system because that is like the second arrow, right? It's like the first arrow is the arrow, the second one is how
yeah.
we deal with the scenario, and that the
Right.
first one comes, the second one makes it so much harder to deal with the first one. So like all what we can do is try and stop the sympathetic nervous system from tripping, and if we do that, we can look at the situation and actually like um okay, this is one of my weirder things. I don't usually do on a podcast, but I'm going to wiggle my fingers over on my peripheral because it's like the way that you can trick yourself. Do you know that trick?
No, no. So you're doing
Okay.
this.
So if you are, when you're looking at so we've been looking at a camera for an hour, basically
Okay.
straight. And when you do that, you are locking yourself in, and it's going to trick your nervous system that you should focus because you've been focused for so long, that you're in danger. Because that is what happens when we are in stress. Our vision narrows down into one point, and we are trained, phones, cars, computers, to look at one point in the distance. So our brain is completely focused on this one thing, which is great when we're being chased by a tiger.
Right.
But to fix your biggest business blocks, what you need is options. And so how you trick yourself to get out of this is when you are locked in, you cannot see from your peripheral vision. You can't see
Right.
anything here. So if you just come into your peripheral and wiggle your fingers like this,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
trick your brain into being like, oh, I can see things in my peripheral vision. I must not be in danger.
Oh, it immediately opened up my vision.
Yeah, and you can do that anytime.
Wow. I love that. Oh, that's such a tangible, easy
Yeah.
way to stop that.
Yeah.
That's great. I had one of my former companies, Life Waves, was about how we used to hit our highest heart rates with physical activity
Hmm.
and spent hundreds of thousands of years in that spot. Now, what has happened is that many people hit their highest heart rates with an emotional response,
Hmm.
and that is an addiction.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need it, and you become addicted to being hyper emotional because you get higher heart rates, and that creates the wave of stress recovery.
Yeah.
And you need that. So if you're not raising your heart rate with physicality in some way, and it doesn't have to be distance, you just have it like small hits
Mhm.
on getting your heart rate up, you can disconnect the high heart rate, the high blood pressure from what's going on around you and
Yeah.
become grounded.
I love that so much. Yeah, my wife learned this thing. She has a joy coach, which is like a limbic system coach. And her coach
Mm,
said, did you know that your body is so addicted to cortisol that even when you laugh, it fills you with cortisol? Your body doesn't fill you with endorphins or dopamine when you laugh unless you train it. It could, and I was like, I have a company called Happiness. I know all about things. And I was like, wait, what? And it
yeah.
used to be really hard for me to do conversations like this because I had long COVID and like I didn't
Mm,
understand why something like this would stress me out. And it's like, oh, because I was filling my body with cortisol and adrenaline. And then when it was done, even when I was having a good time, I was like burnt out because it was like in a stress response. So it's not
right.
so yeah, not only that which I love, but also just like our body is actually is addicted to cortisol. Like it is addicted to adrenaline. It is addicted to the idea that like I'm going to be able to do it at 3 a.m. before the night before the test. And it's like my love. It may be normal, but normal is not healthy. And
Mm,
like my wife used to ask me all the time when she started this similar journey that I've been on. She's like, "Is it normal to do that?" And I was like, "Ah, that's not the right question." Because like normal is what everyone does.
right.
Everyone is super unhealthy. Normal is not healthy. We have to do the
Yeah.
thing that is actually healthy, which is not like working ourselves to the bone, even though everyone else on your team might be working themselves to the bone. It is actually 50 years now of data says like that is not how you have the best team. The best teams have 20 hours of productivity in them, and you can nurture those 20 hours, you get better results. I don't
Mm,
know. I don't know why. That's like mine is not to do or die. Mine is not to
yeah.
reason why mine is just to do or die. It's like we know that the average person has 20 productive hours in them. And so we could make them work for 80 hours, or we could try and make them work the best 20 hours that they can, or 40 hours, or whatever, and like protect that part of them that we know is the best way to work.
Yes. Yes. It's mind-boggling that we can't grasp it. And there's so many benefits from a 4-day work week.
Yeah.
Back off. It really helps the quality of life. And productivity goes soaring.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and that's that focus, right? When you focus, all you see is the how to finish that task. When you step back a bit, you see, oh, why do we even need that tasks? This would be better if that's this person did it, or like if like we hired this company, or like maybe we can just abandon it altogether because it
Right.
doesn't. But like we are so I like to say people always come to me and they say I'm banging my head against a wall, and I'm like, my love, you're not supposed to break down that wall. Walls are supposed to exist. Did you know there's an alleyway? You know there's a door? Why are
Yeah.
you going through that window? Like windows are where burglars go. Like go find a door. Like you just because like if like God closes a door and opens a window, like they're trying to air out their house. They're not inviting you in. Like go and find a way
Right.
in or knock on the door. Like I don't know, but like banging your head against a wall is about the worst way to get into a building because the wall is going to win.
Yes. Yes. What a great analogy. That is beautiful and so relatable. Yeah, go find a door. What are you what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're about to end our time together, but I want to make sure that you get the last word. Is there anything that we covered that we missed in what you want to cover, or anything that you would like to say to people before we say goodbye?
I would like to say, read everything that this man has written. Listen to these podcasts. He's brilliant. That's what I would like to say. It was such a pleasure meeting you.
Oh, it's a pleasure meeting you too. And thank you so much. Where can we find you?
The easiest place to find me is on LinkedIn.
Okay,
Alison
amazing.
Godfrey.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. You too.